Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
What is that sound you're making? Oh, yeah.
Utterly nonsense. Cue intro.
All right, let's start getting into it. All right, so
nitty-gritty.
So top 5 Marvel Universe movies so far.
Marvel Cinematic Universe, just to be clear.
That exact universe.
Yeah. So first of all, the MCU, 18 films in it so far. We just saw Black Panther this past week, which is why we're compiling our new MCU films, just to see if our perspectives have changed as a result of Ryan Coogler's latest masterpiece. So. Loser. Okay. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, what kind of? All right. I guess I'll go first. So, top 5 greatest MCU movies. I'll go in order. All right. So we got Ragnarok, my favorite movie so far. Then we got Guardians of the Galaxy. Then we're going to throw a little bit of Black Panther in there. And then we're going to another little spice of some Iron Man, and then we're going to do Homecoming Spider-Man. Don't at me on it. It's all of it. It's just the greatest 5.
Was that 5?
Damn.
Top 5. Top 5.
Don't quote you.
All right, I'm next.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. So, you want me to do 5 to 1?
Do 1 to 5.
1 to 5.
That's what Drew did. Yeah.
All right, probably for me, my all-time favorite, probably the Avengers, the first Avengers movie.
It's your number 1. Okay.
You're stupid.
Yep.
Fine.
Yeah, well.
So stupid.
Yeah, well, you know.
I disagree, but go on.
Yeah. No, I don't know. All right. Number 2 is probably Black Panther. 3, probably Captain America: Winter Soldier, because I think that's awesome. Number 4 is probably Guardians of the Galaxy, and number 5 is probably Thor Ragnarok.
Okay. John, you want to go next, or should I go?
Sure. And by the way, remember to keep the microphone close to your face.
I am well aware of how microphones work.
Yeah, like
You gotta keep it on the chest. You gotta keep it in between.
Yes, it doesn't work unless it's right on my mouth.
In between the pecs,
You want to have
an inch below the chin.
Oh, yes, right below. We're not doing that again.
We already
right,
did
so-
that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. All right, so 1 to 5. 1 is always going to be my favorite, the first Iron Man. Then I would put the first Avengers, not Captain America, the first Avenger. I mean the first Avengers movie. Then Captain America, the first Avenger. Then Winter Soldier, and then Guardians 1.
Okay, that's a pretty solid list. So I'd like to think that for the most part, my list is pretty much in line with what you guys have. For me, number 1, of course, it's Iron Man. The original Iron Man is by far one of the best films ever made.
John Favreau's the best.
Absolutely, John Favreau at his best. Number 2, I had the list in front of me a second ago. Number 2 is probably Spider-Man: Homecoming. Number 3, probably Guardians 1. Number 4, Ant-Man. Number 5. Yeah, probably Thor Ragnarok.
What about 5?
I said 5.
Ragnarok.
And then you went 4.
Yeah, Ant-Man.
And then 3.
Then 3 was Guardians 1.
And then 2.
And then 2 was Spider-Man: Homecoming.
And then 1.
What was 1? Iron Man.
And then -1.
Iron Man 2.
By the way, Thor Ragnarok was competing for the 5th slot. I was thinking either Thor Ragnarok or Guardians 1.
Actually, I want to
Kinda
change it. I want to change my list a little bit. Yeah, so I said 5 was Homecoming. I want to now move that to 6 and then put the original Iron Man, the first one, at 5. I forgot about it. It was just...
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't have
Yeah,
You
no.
put it. You said.
Yeah,
Did I?
Wait, did you?
You did. Yeah, you said number 4 was Iron Man.
I keep the list as I do then.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't remember what I said.
I mean, I already lost track.
Yeah, I should have written it down. I'm so sorry to everyone watching this right
Okay.
now.
We're tired. It's been a very long day.
It's always a
We all
long
want to go to
day.
bed. It's so tired.
Right. Okay. So here's what I'll say. Why the fuck is Winter Soldier on your list?
Why is Winter
it's like
Soldier on the
it's like a nonstop roller coaster ride. It's got ups, downs. It's like so over the place. It's got the action is really frenetic and really fun to watch. I remember that scene with Captain America on the boat. It's so cool. He's like running around kicking everyone's ass.
At best, it's a forgettable movie that's dependent on the rest of the
How's
MCU.
it forgettable, man? Shield gets corrupted. Bucky's
Yeah,
alive.
who the fuck cares? And who the fuck cares about Bucky, honestly? Like, I mean, the whole point
He was
of
the whole
Winter
center
Soldier
of
is to
Civil War.
introduce or reintroduce this character.
Yeah, Civil War. That's who cares about Bucky.
Winter Soldier was the whole setup for Civil War.
Yeah, and Civil
So
War
you
was
kinda
kind of
have to care about it.
I think we can all agree on that, right? Like,
Yeah, I thought Civil War could have been better.
Disappointing.
Okay, well, there you go.
I don't think it was disappointing. I just thought it was a Marvel movie. It's just, you know,
It's too generic because like no one died.
it was an excuse to get everybody together and
That's
fight.
my big
what it
problem
was.
with the Captain America sequels. You know, they don't function on their own. They can't exist outside the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Oh, yeah,
and
they
you
can.
need prior knowledge of the Marvel Cinematic Universe for them to work.
No, I actually say that you can see the Winter Soldier like without seeing any other MCU movie.
Really?
Yeah, because they even like give you Cap's backstory like real quickly.
Okay, so if you haven't seen First Avenger, then, and by First Avenger I mean the first Captain America movie, First Avenger.
I think you have to see that one to see
Without
this
seeing First
Winter
Avenger,
Soldier.
you wouldn't understand the references to Bucky. Without seeing,
Yeah, you would because they bring him up. Remember the museum?
okay, whatever.
I guess.
Screw your logic, Eric.
Without seeing Iron Man 2,
Well, you know what? See y'all later.
without seeing any of the previous films, Black Widow is just some unnecessary person. You know, she's just this spy chick. You know,
Okay.
she's not Black Widow. You know,
Black Widow.
No or more better like throughout the movie.
but
And nobody cares about Black
and
Widow,
because
seriously.
the other Marvel movies do exist before this, because the Avengers came before Winter Soldier chronologically, like. It begs the question: where were the rest of the Avengers while Cap was in
Because
this?
if they were all in it, then you would be confused because then it couldn't stand on its own.
They were all in their own movies.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense in the context of that universe.
You gotta take some liberties when you're making a movie, and I feel like that they kind of like give an
Okay,
excuse
take
for that.
some liberties.
And besides, the whole thing takes place in like 3 days, so I mean, really, you can't just call like
Also, I don't consider
forever. What?
I don't consider Civil War as a Captain America sequel. I just consider it Avengers 3.
I've always
Or
said it's
2.5.
Avengers 2.5. That's where I stand by.
Yeah.
But again, I have nothing wrong with Civil War. I think it's the second best of the Captain America trilogy. If you
Why is
consider
Kristen
that
Bell
the
behind me?
Captain America trilogy? What?
Kristen Bell is behind me. I don't know why.
Oh, Kristen Bell. What's she
Kristen
doing
Bell. Or Sarah Marshall.
Sarah Marshall, yeah.
Better known as Sarah Marshall.
Okay, I admitted I was wrong last time. You don't have to bring that up again.
But we want to.
Yeah, we just love to.
Hey, she's in the background too. Look at her.
Yeah, she's
Sarah
there to
Marshall.
gloat.
Okay.
All right, so what else?
Yeah, Black Panther.
Top villains.
I mean, we already. So the whole reason I wanted to bring up Black Panther was like we've already talked about it to death. So I mean, I'm sort of.
I mean, the review's coming out soon.
Yeah. So why is it number 2 on your list? Like, why is it that high up?
It has something to say, really. It's I mean, I guess like I know you can kind of make an excuse that like all movies have something to say, but this kind of felt like more of this. I was like instead of just like Civil War, I just used an excuse to just throw all the superheroes together and get them to fight people. This one just kind of
Yeah, this one felt to me more than just a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Like it had like some symbolicism to actual like issues going on in America today, kind of thing going on.
Yeah, comedy felt kind of like organic. Not like,
Yeah, I think it just
I
flowed
felt
so
that
well.
first time, but upon a second watching, it just felt clunky and unnecessary. A lot of the comedy just sort of stuck out as being like there, and it doesn't really do anything to enhance the plot or really build on the characters.
Well, I mean,
If they were too serious, then you couldn't really take it seriously.
Yeah, I'm just saying that was my impression the second way through, and really the editing mistakes really stick out to me. Like most of the Marvel films are completely seamless, with the exception of a few small mistakes.
I don't know about Civil War because I have some problems with that editing in Civil War, but
Well,
we'll
get into that.
time.
And again,
Excuse me, as
Civil War.
film students at a highly esteemed university, we would like to point out some mistakes in your
The
film,
nuances
Marvel.
aren't subtle enough.
Kevin Feige, you need to hire us for consultation. This just can't go on. You just simply cannot go on like this. This is not how you create a universe with these mistakes. Please hire me. I can't find work.
Says Zack Snyder.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about.
Did you see the rumor about Zack Snyder?
We were actually just talking about that before we started
Do you
recording.
want to talk about that now or after the MCU thing?
Why not? Sure.
Well, we can sidebar the MCU.
Yeah,
stuff.
we'll come back to it in a sec.
So, yeah, I mean, the rumor came from a guy who apparently just left DC due to, I think it was creative differences, right? I forget what the actual.
No, I saw it was like some guy who was a Hollywood reporter who was leaving the whole industry for some reason.
You know, that actually makes a little more sense. So, I mean, for the rumor, for anyone who doesn't know, is that Zack Snyder, prior to his daughter actually committing suicide, prior to him stepping down to actually accept that, he basically was fired from the DC Extended Universe, largely because either Jeff Johns or someone else higher up at DC was unhappy with the work he was doing. Which, again, considering how mixed the reviews have been on some of his films, without taking a stance, without saying whether the DC films have been great or bad under Snyder's leadership, he's a controversial figure at the very least. So I think it's a pretty rational move if the rumors are true. Yeah, so what do you make of it, John?
You want to know what I think? I think the timing of it is pretty convenient in that we see a lot of people, at least I've seen a lot of people on social media saying, release the Snyder Cut, we're not going to buy it unless you do. And then there's the petition.
Snyder Cut.
Pictures almost.
Yeah, okay.
I think wait.
No, let's not putting into a debate. Sorry, keep going.
Go on. We'll get back to this.
I think that Warner Brothers maybe put this guy up to saying that to kind of put people off of saying release the Snyder Cut, because they're saying that I saw there was a statement that said his footage was so bad that it was unwatchable.
Heard that.
And so that's why they have to do all the reshoots. So that's what they're saying, that there is no Snyder Cut. But I still think there is. I want to believe.
Okay, so just to address the fact that, like, the rumors that it is so bad that it's unwatchable, whatever, people could argue the same thing about the original cuts for both BVS and Man of Steel. Like, that's not a compelling argument. If the fans want a Snyder Cut, why? It's not really unwatchable, you know? I mean, you have a lot of diehard Zack Snyder fans who want to see that cut, regardless of how good the quality is. The fact is, the footage exists. Yeah, we know the footage exists. We've seen the deleted scenes.
It's the problem.
But that means the potential exists for a Snyder Cut. A fan could make a Snyder Cut. Someone from the studio, some executive somewhere, could put all the footage together and make that Snyder Cut.
I know, but the problem is you either need to A, bring back, or B, put millions of dollars into it. Like, the special effects, I'm sure, aren't done or anything, so that's going to be millions of dollars already.
They are or aren't?
No, I think probably whatever scenes that they did film, they didn't edit them.
Yeah.
They're completed, and that's why they're saying there was no Snyder Cut. We know the scenes were filmed.
They were filmed, but I don't
know
think
that
they were
much
put together and like special effects and everything.
They probably weren't actually put together, so they're probably not going to invest more money into doing that in addition to expanding the budget just to do Joss Whedon's render on the whole thing.
I don't know. It'd be cool, but maybe
my guy's on Joss Whedon. I got to put my Marvel jokes
where there's just like a million different cuts for every possible different creative output. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, do you think Zack Snyder leaving the DCEU, whether or not he was fired, whether or not he left for his own purposes, do you think his permanent or semi-permanent departure is a good thing or a bad thing?
So the funny thing is that a lot of people say that the studio shouldn't intervene, but then you have like a case like Star Wars The Last Jedi where a lot of people are saying, where was the studio overseeing all of Rian Johnson's decisions and then the writing and directing department?
You know,
okay, so
where's the balance?
I do have a couple things to say about that. First of all, it's idiotic to say that the studio or the director is always right. You know, there's got to be some overlap both times.
Some gray area.
I think we can all agree there. First of all, only a Sith deals in absolutes. Okay, we all know that, even though that statement contradicts.
So do Jedi. What? That's why it's time for the Jedi to end.
But only a Sith deals in absolutes, Eric. Okay.
Jesus.
But that is a contradictory statement,
right?
It is, yeah.
But
oh my God.
But I mean, it's true to an extent. It's idiotic to actually.
Oh, check it out! My Ready Player One poster flaw.
All right, continue, Zack Snyder. Here we go.
It is pretty idiotic to say something is always the case. Whatever. But again,
it's 1 + 1.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and unless it's like deductive.
These are social sciences.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Can you just move your head back just a tiny bit so I can look at CJ's beautiful face? Thanks.
Okay, we both know my face isn't beautiful, but thanks
it's gorgeous.
For the compliment. Okay.
CJ, no matter what they say.
So, first of all, in the case of Last Jedi, I actually really loved the movie. I know you guys both did. Or did you see it yet, Drew?
What's
Last
movie?
Jedi.
Star Wars.
No, I still haven't, and I'm pissed.
Okay, so we won't ruin
talk
too much, but essentially fans are very mixed on it. It's like you either love it or you don't. Eric and I both loved it. We both loved the direction Rian Johnson went in it. John's in the camp that originally liked it, now hates it. So whatever.
Well, no, I'll just say that my mind was completely somewhere else when I first saw it. But after I thought about it, I was like, yeah, why did they do all those things? Did you see the How It Should Have Ended video?
I saw it. That was great. I love some of the
I actually
so
agree with
funny.
a lot of the criticisms. I feel like if they'd just removed Rose altogether, it would have been like a much better movie. There would have been a lot less complaints.
Spoiler for him, man.
I have no idea who Rose is, so
Exactly.
It's all right.
So it doesn't really ruin anything. But and I didn't really ruin
If they had done those
anything
things-
in it, so whatever.
I would have liked it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What are we talking
So
about?
More.
studio interference.
Oh, okay.
Go. You got any
What's your
opinions on that?
I mean, I'm kind of fine. Like if they do it like every now and then, like like how like the first Star Wars was made, how like there were times like they went and like told George Lucas to not do certain things.
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely the case for studio interference. And that's not even just the studio stuff. You look at the first Star Wars; it wasn't really, the studio interfering. It was more the actors telling George Lucas, "Hey, some of this dialogue is really stupid. Can we just say our own shit?"
Yeah. And I mean, I'm fine with studios like interfering like every every
Well, I feel like for every movie they have to have some kind of guidelines saying like this is where we would like for you to go with the movie, because it is a business after all.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I hate looking at it that way. I hate
know,
looking at any
it's
creative
kinda
output
true.
as it is true, but I hate to acknowledge that fact.
So
you know?
I bet right now maybe someone in the comments like is going to say Stanley Kubrick or something, and that'll like
That's true.
Michael Bay.
yeah, Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick never made a
I
franchise.
mean, hell,
so-
Marvel has been so heavily controlled by the studio throughout. You could definitely argue that like that's what has kept them stable this entire time, but you could also argue that's what kept people like Edgar Wright from making Ant-Man.
Yeah. Sadly.
So the fact is, there's really no definitive answer for this. I lean more towards the creator standpoint rather than the person who benefits from the creator.
It's very gray area.
Absolutely. So,
Agreed.
getting back to the original point of
Yeah.
whether or not Zack Snyder leaving the DCEU was a good thing, yeah, I think so.
I'm fine with it.
I mean,
He's going to go do his own thing.
yeah, I know John would disagree with me on this, and I know.
No,
you
actually,
disagree.
I agree because 3 movies, that's probably enough. Directors tend to get burnout.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Working
you
on the
actually
same thing for
agree,
a while.
but for a different reason. Okay.
Yeah, like let's say even if he had stayed on and he did the whole Justice League movie, I think 3 movies, let someone else take over.
Sure. Well, what was I gonna say?
You're talking about original.
Look at Michael Bay in Transformers.
Yeah.
Get a good idea. Good point.
He's like,
Every
after
episode
3,
of
he's
Michael
like,
Bay
okay, I did it. I'm
Transformers.
done. No more.
To be fair, he never
Okay, I'm
really
doing
gave
4.
a fuck. I mean, to be fair, Michael Bay never gave a fuck. He's always been.
I'm doing
Well,
6, maybe.
He's doing 14 more of them,
mean-
so
Is it really 14 more?
yeah, they got
What-
14 more ideas.
What's his net worth? I'm curious what his net worth
Oh,
is.
God, a ton.
I'll look it up.
Did you have a computer right here?
It's all about
let's go. We can look at
motherfucking
John,
money.
guys. Oh my god, I just want to know
Yeah, I'm curious.
just the sellouts net worth. Comment what you think the net worth is
Yeah.
in the section below.
Tell us what you think Michael Bay's net worth is. We'll send you something.
430 million, and he has an average salary of 65 million per year.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, for a director, that's like a ridiculously high salary. Like, I actually did the math a little while ago, just because that's my dream job. The average salary for a director, this is encapsulating all the big blockbuster guys, all the indie guys,
Wait, what?
about $100,000 per year, which pretty high for an average job, pretty low for something in that industry.
Mhm.
So, or I guess pretty average for something in that industry. But if you're comparing it to like actors and people with real specialty skills, that's kind of weird. Yeah, so that's like an insane amount of money. 65 million salary.
Were you guys right? If you were,
Yeah.
share the video and subscribe.
We'll send you something free, a T-shirt.
That's all on you. I'm not sending.
Yeah, I'm just gonna send like an old T-shirt I have, just
Okay.
ripped apart and old, and just
We'll wash it first.
no.
We'll send you a meme. How about that? We'll send you a meme that no one else
Send
has
you a
ever
meme.
seen.
Okay.
Yeah. Do it for the memes.
So
likes equals memes.
Making memes come true.
So the last thing I want to address with the DC Extended Universe going forward, aside from the fact that Aquaman is coming out at the end of this year and James Wan is directing, which could be really cool, actually. I mean, he's the guy behind Saw, which...
Oh, really?
Yeah, weird choice.
I never even thought about that.
So I'm interested to see that, if for no other reason than to see if he's capable of anything else. But
I wonder if you watch
the studio, like, no, it's a great choice for Aquaman.
Let's choose the guy from one of the most iconic horror films.
Yeah, let's get that really gory fucking dude to do it.
Yeah. So
he's probably gonna like a take inspiration from SeaWorld or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the same way that Joss Whedon sort of left the Marvel Cinematic Universe and made room for the Russo brothers, who do you think is going to take over the DCEU from Zack Snyder?
Ooh,
Michael Bay,
Matthew Vaughn.
Cool, but probably not.
Michael Bay to do Lobo.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
I mean, we covered that last week.
God.
I still think Robert Rodriguez would be great for that, but
that happens.
It better not happen. I feel like DC has better judgment than that. I feel like Jeff Johns is a smart enough guy not to make decisions like that, you know?
Lobo, right?
Yeah, Lobo.
They think Michael Bay.
You know, be awesome.
Making a movie about a comic book character named Lobo.
Honestly, I doubt Lobo's going to get a solo film anytime soon.
Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Michael Bay again.
I don't know why. I really don't know why.
Yeah, what were you saying,
Get
John?
me to direct it. I'll do everything he does.
What would be awesome is if they got James Gunn to do Green Lantern.
I mean, that would be cool, but most of the Marvel guys are pretty, loyal. And I don't mean to say that it's traitorous to join the other side, but...
I say that, 'cause I know, doesn't James Gunn, he went on Facebook one time and just, kind of went on a rant about, how Marvel and DC fanboys need to stop funding, share them.
Kevin Feige publicly said that, a win for DC is a win for superhero movies everywhere, yada, yada, yada. There's no real bad blood there. I'm just saying most of these guys tend to stick with what they know. And I feel like as long as James Gunn's connected to Guardians 3, he's probably not going to leave Marvel anytime soon.
Well, you know what I have to say about that?
Going into.
Mm-hmm.
It's Hollywood, and it's all about that motherfucking money!
Yeah.
Success.
Look at, what's his name? J.J. Abrams. They're like, oh yeah, he's going to do all the Star Treks. Nope, I'm going to Star Wars now.
And Cloverfield, and then then he's gonna take over the world.
Yeah. Did you see what J.J. Abrams said on Twitter about Star Wars?
What did he say?
What specifically?
I saw a thing where he's pretty much suggesting or outright stating, I don't remember the exact quote, that people who didn't like The Last Jedi might be anti-feminist because it has all these strong women.
I heard a story about that. Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, to be fair, that's one of his talking points. I like J.J. Abrams as a director, even if he is a little bit on the safe side. But he's one of those very typical Hollywood celebrities where basically anytime it comes to anything political, he takes the most common arguments,
just the most moderate,
moderate, but still pretty liberal things. You would say it's Hollywood liberalism for you, and. As someone who identifies as a liberal, I can tell you right now there's a lot of flaws in those arguments, but, this isn't a political talk show. I'm not going to get into it.
Come on, it's more fun.
This week, so.
Again, China.
Remember, if you don't like our movie...
China.
Yeah, what were you saying?
If you don't like our movie, you're a bigot, and you just committed a hate crime.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that struck a funny bone.
Give it good reviews or else you get ousted politically and you'll never work in this town again, you hear?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
that needs to stop.
Getting back to our top 5 Marvel films.
Yeah, holy crap, we went off.
Top 5
Yeah,
Marvel
we went way
villains?
off on a tangent. Yeah, were there any films that really jumped out to you, or anything on any of our lists that really warrant discussion?
I love all the movies.
What was your least favorite 5? We did top 5. What's the bottom 5?
Yeah, what are your bottom 5?
That's tough. I got to think about that for a
Yeah, this is right off the top of the head.
I'll probably go with.
We're freestyling it here.
Thor
Iron
2,
Man 2,
Iron Man 3, Thor 2, and
you said Thor 2 twice, but
Yeah, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3.
2 Thor 2.
Yeah, I agree. Both Iron Man sequels, Thor 2. I'm trying to think of what else. Winter Soldier wouldn't be in my bottom 5, but it's definitely closer to the bottom 5 than it is to the top. You know, it's not in my top 10, and there's only 18 films. So.
I mean, I don't not like the first Thor.
But Hulk, Incredible Hulk.
Oh yeah, the Incredible
Hulk. Yeah,
it's not even a terrible movie. It's just for that time frame. The plot is just generic. The CGI is pretty lousy. So
yeah.
I don't know. For the Marvel Cinematic Universe, considering their standards,
if you give Black Panther a bad review, you're a racist. I don't care. There it is.
I hate green people, apparently. Yeah, I got to think about my very bottom one.
That's all right.
John,
what do you not like?
What are your least favorite ones, John?
Well, off the top of my head, I know my least favorite is definitely Iron Man 3. Because it was a big disappointment. They're like, oh yeah, it's going to be the Mandarin. And then they're like, oh no, he's just a joke. Okay, why don't you just do someone else then?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Thor 2 definitely down there. I'm not sure what else. Because like a lot of the Marvel movies haven't exactly been bad.
So I'm looking through the list right now. Again, it's hard to decide a bottom 5 when there's only 18 films and they're all mostly on the good side.
Mm-hmm.
I guess by default, it would have to be, for me, it would have to be either Avengers 2 or Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Doctor Strange was too much CGI. That's what they relied on the entire.
Well, first of all, I think visually Doctor Strange is one of the best films.
Yeah, I mean it looks good, but it's just they relied on the CGI.
The fact is, the plot was at best formulaic. It gave us an origin film, which would have been a great origin film in Phase 1. It would have been probably one of the best films in the MCU if it had aired in Phase 1. But for the time it aired, it was just pretty generic. While I do love Benedict Cumberbatch's portrayal, pretty much everyone in the MCU has been well cast, so that's not the best argument to make. What else can be said? I mean, Caecilius is just a lame fucking villain. He's at best I like Mads Mikkelsen, but
I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name.
So I mean, Mads Mikkelsen is a great actor, but the villain is just meh.
He's just a goon for Dormammu.
I come to bargain.
Yeah, so Dormammu actually is a great villain, and he has the potential to be this great otherworldly threat. But they just did not develop him at all in Doctor Strange.
I will admit, I do like the whole "I've come to bargain" thing. That was pretty funny.
That was funny. That was one of the most quotable moments of the movie. Yeah, I mean, my big problem with it is just that it is generic. It's just an MCU film that, while it does stand well on its own, it's really just there to add Doctor Strange into the Marvel Cinematic Universe so he can appear in future films.
Yeah,
it was really there just to fill the gap between two other Marvel movies. And, you know, it's again, not a bad movie. It's just there by default.
Yeah.
It's a movie.
What was the other one you said?
Avengers 2.
Yeah, that kind of got
Which,
stuff.
Again, I love Joss Whedon as a director. I think the first Avengers was amazing, but the problem with Avengers 2 is that it's ridiculously long for what it is. It just tries to be so much more deep than it is. I think the actual title, Age of Ultron, is sort of misleading.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not the
like
Age of Ultron.
1 week of Ultron.
It's the couple days of Ultron.
Yeah.
I think Ultron's actually an interesting enough character on his own, but again, he wasn't well developed. They could have at least hinted that Ultron was coming in the earlier MCU films. I mean, in the same way Loki developed to be the villain of Avengers, in the same way that Thanos developed to be the villain in Infinity War. I feel like they could have done the same thing with Ultron, you know?
Yeah. And also, at the end of Avengers 2, Tony is not thrown into jail, forever.
Yeah,
because that
I know. It's weird that they never reference again the fact that he created fucking Ultron. Mm-hmm. It's weird that didn't come up during Civil War, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
basically, Avengers 2 kind of
again,
way too far.
Again, it's not a terrible movie. It's just as far as the MCU films go, it just had no lasting consequences for the Marvel Cinematic Universe at all. It was fun.
Well, there was the Wakanda thing that they referenced in Civil War.
What?
Wasn't there something about some Wakanda thing that they referenced in Civil War?
The whole Sokovia Accords, duh. But, they destroyed Sokovia, but they didn't reference the fact that it was Ultron's fault or that Ultron had any impact on that.
It was kind of Tony's fault if you think.
Yeah, but
didn't he did it twice? I remember.
Which and to be fair, that might be why Tony's so strong, pro registration, even though
even though at the end he kind of goes again, he kind of just forgets all that, and it's I'll go back to
again. If you had asked me before Civil War, I would have definitely sided with Tony, but and they could have definitely built up his side. If just approaching it from a non-biased standpoint, Tony had the better argument, you know. But of course, it's a Captain America movie, if you want to call it a Captain America movie. Mm-hmm. So of course, Captain America's got to win because he's front and center. He's the protagonist. Yada yada yada.
Well, so eventually, Captain America's the main character in it.
Exactly. So that's my problem with Age of Ultron and Civil War. but mostly Age of Ultron. Even Civil War, I guess, is closer to the bottom 5 than the top 5 for me.
Valid points. All valid points here.
Yeah.
So
very deep conversation.
yeah, and again, I think I've justified my top 5 enough. Like, I mean, none of ours are really all too controversial. Aside from
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone will just get that. They'll be like, okay, yeah, no duh.
even Black
kind of
Panther
thing.
is in my top 10 now.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's my number 9, I think. I have a list somewhere, but it's not in front of me. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised none of you called me out on Ant-Man, but
I mean, it's not. This means the problem I have is I always watch and it's go like.
yeah, Edgar Wright would have done it.
If only Edgar Wright directed this.
And again, I have the same criticism. That doesn't make it a bad movie, though.
Yeah.
Sure, it could have been a hell of a lot better, but it was a damn good movie to begin with.
Again, with the Marvel movies, they're all pretty much at least half decent. So it's not like if you have one in your top 5, I'm going to say, oh, why would you put that there? That one was terrible. It's like, no, they're all of a similar quality.
Right.
So they're probably interchangeable depending on your specific tastes or preferences.
Right. So, morbid 8-bit outro. Boom, boom.
Oh wait, we gotta do this song again.
What song?
I don't remember what we did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Word.